Concrete turns to dust. Metal fuses into scrap. Oceans boil into space. The Earth's crust loses cohesion and collapses. Every biological cell on the planet ruptures instantly. This is not a distant threat. It is the immediate result of a 5-second atmospheric shift. What if the oxygen disappeared for 5 seconds? Oxygen acts as the molecular glue for human civilization and planetary geology. A 5-second removal triggers an irreversible termination of all structural and biological integrity. The reality is a silent global explosion followed by a terminal descent into chaos. The chemical bonds holding the world together vanish. Earth transitions from a functioning biosphere to a sterile graveyard in the time it takes to draw a single breath. The Earth's crust crumbles instantly. Oxygen makes up 45% of the crust and mantle. Without it, the ground loses all cohesion. Buildings, bridges, and dams collapse as concrete loses its binding agent. Humanity stands on a disintegrating floor. Atmospheric pressure drops 21% in 1 millisecond. This shift is equivalent to being teleported from sea level to an altitude of 2,000 meters instantly. The inner ear of every human and animal explodes. Nitrogen in the blood expands, eardrums rupture, respiratory systems fail. Internal combustion engines stall, planes fall, cars stop. The mechanical heartbeat of the world ceases. The ozone layer is pure oxygen. Its disappearance leaves the planet defenseless against solar radiation. High-energy ultraviolet light hits the surface without filtration. Human skin burns at a molecular level. Every cell undergoes DNA damage. The sky turns black as light scattering fails. Survival is a statistical impossibility for any surface-dwelling organism. Metals weld together on contact. The protective oxidation layer on all untreated metal vanishes. Parts in machinery, engines, and electronics fuse instantly through cold welding. The global electrical grid shorts out. Satellites seize up in orbit. Even if oxygen returns, the machines remain fused. The industrial capacity of the human race is erased. Water is 89% oxygen by mass. The hydrogen becomes a free-floating gas escaping into the upper atmosphere. The volume of the oceans shrinks drastically. Coastal infrastructure is left hanging over empty basins. The chemistry of life is fundamentally broken. Biological thirst is irrelevant when the molecular basis for water is gone. Every cell in the human body, composed mostly of water, expands and ruptures. The global supply chain experiences total termination. Without oxygen, combustion is impossible. Shipping vessels lose power. Trains derail as tracks crumble into loose minerals. Food distribution stops. Economic value is reduced to zero as physical assets disintegrate. There is no recovery plan for a world where the ground has turned to sand. Concrete is the foundation of modern existence. Without the calcium silicate hydrate that binds it, every skyscraper becomes a vertical pile of gray powder. Cities flatten. The dust creates a global cloud that blocks out the dying sun. Power plants, including nuclear facilities, lose structural containment. Cooling systems and domes fail simultaneously. Social structures vanish. Communication is dead. No internet, no radio, no satellites. The loss of oxygen is a reset button for the planet's chemistry. Human history ends in the rubble. The survivors are blind, deaf, and dying of radiation and internal ruptures. There is no authority. There is only the silence of the dust. The return of oxygen after 5 seconds provides no relief. The oxygen returns to find a world of fused metal, powdered concrete, and boiling oceans. The atmosphere is a toxic mix of hydrogen and heat. The biosphere cannot reboot from a state of total cellular destruction. Earth becomes a dead rock orbiting a silent sun. The infrastructure of the trillion-dollar human project is buried under kilometers of regolith. The 5-second gap is the terminal end of the Holocene. Civilization is a fragile byproduct of a specific chemical balance. We are not masters of the planet. We are temporary guests of its chemistry. The cage is made of air, and the lock is permanent.
Earth remains as a silent monument to a species that ignored its own fragility. The oxygen returns, but there is no one left to breathe it.